Hi guys, it's me, Jack. I'm talking to you today because this is a very special day for me. This is the 1 year anniversary of what is probably one of the darkest moments in my life. It's the 1 year anniversary of the day that I felt like I wished I could cut out the part of me that was Jack and just be female like everybody wanted me to be. And that pretty much was my lowest point. It was really painful, and it's hard even to talk about it now because I don't really want to go into details of everything that happened, but it's the closest I've ever come to being suicidal. And that was a year ago. And so, 1 year later, everything is so much better. Right now, I'm almost done with work for the day. I've got another set of articles to write, and that should leave me with about $650 for the week. I'm happy with my job. I'm moving forward in my career. I'm about to start training as a life coach, and I'm about to have my first workshop coming up September 22nd. I've been working on public speaking for a year and an advocate for the transgender community. I was just on the radio yesterday talking about Asperger's syndrome and job hunting because I'm an advocate for the Asperger's community as well. I've made a lot of impact in the world. I've made a lot of personal strides, a lot of career growth, a lot of personal growth. I don't even know where to begin. So I wanted to kind of share with you where I was at last year and where I am at this year. So pretty much last year around this time, I was pretty depressed. I guess it started in July, maybe around my birthday, or a little bit after my birthday, maybe a little bit before my birthday, was when I first realized that I was identifying as male and started giving my male self a name and started calling myself Jack. But I really didn't tell a whole lot of people about it back then because I thought it was just something strange, and I didn't think of myself as transgender. I had been identifying as gender queer for the last 2 years before that and said I was neither male nor female, but at the same time, it hurt me that I would dress like a guy and I would have a short haircut and I would go into a restaurant or something and get called ma'am. And it was just very frustrating and hurtful and angry because I felt invisible. And so I started slowly coming out to myself. Around July, I started wearing a binder. I think it was around July. It might have been a little later, actually. Might have been September. I'm not sure of the exact timeline of things. But anyway, at some point I started wearing a binder, thinking that would help me have more of a male appearance. But I still was being called ma'am and being misgendered, and it was really annoying me. And I guess the turning point did happen in July. A couple of things happened. I had the opportunity to be on a radio show about what it means to be transgender, and I talked about being genderqueer and gender neutral, but I secretly switched it to my male self in order to talk. Um, that's one thing that happened. Another thing that happened around July was that somebody invited me to a girls' night out, and I got really offended. I remember being like, no, I can't, I'm not female. And the person was like, well, you're half female because you're genderqueer. And so I just got really mad. And then the third thing that happened was there's a series of events that occurred uh, that culminated in me feeling like I've had enough of this depression. And I was feeling very depressed, and I finally asked for help. About three of today was when I was forced to confront, well, not forced, but in one of my sessions, I had to confront the idea of who I was, and I became very depressed and agitated at the idea of not being able to be identified as Jack and not being able to speak as Jack and that kind of thing. So all of this led to my growing awareness that I was transgender, And all of this led to my growing despair because I felt so invisible and so trapped and so much like I was never going to be seen. And a few weeks after this was when I came out of a 2 week depression and for the first time opened my Facebook as Jack. And that was the beginning of my healing. And of course, I didn't do that alone. My life coach, Coach Brent, helped me so much and is continuing to help me. And the friends who actually really, really cared about me and actually welcomed me as Jack were an important part of this as well. And so much has happened in the past year. But like I said, last year I was pretty close to suicidal. I was pretty close to not being able to function in this world. And I'm just really glad that it never went past the thought stage. For a long time, I didn't want to qualify myself as suicidal because I didn't know how to describe it. I had to cite these feelings like, I wish that the part of me that's male could just die and be out of pain. And then I could be female like everyone wants me to be, and I'd be so much happier because that's what everyone wants, but a big part of me would be dead. And I knew I couldn't do that because I knew I couldn't kill this part of myself without killing all of myself. And so that's pretty much what saved my life. The reason I'm making this video today isn't so much to talk about that, although that's part of what I want to talk about. I just wanted to encourage anybody who's out there who's struggling because they think they're trans and they're alone, and to repeat what I always say, which is you're only as alone as you think you are. When I came out for the first time, and I was holding my breath and expecting everybody to reject me, and that didn't happen. And some of my friends were just like, cool, welcome, and that made all the difference. I'm not going to say that this year has been easy per se, because it hasn't. It takes hard work once you've been depressed to become undepressed. Um, I worked really hard with my life coach. I've worked really hard at therapy. And yeah, there have been some losses. Somebody who I thought was a really close friend for life totally rejected me, said that I wasn't really transgender, said that I was just faking, and that I was just mentally ill, and that they didn't want to deal with me not knowing who I was, and they rejected me, and that hurt a lot. But ultimately, it turned out to be a good thing because it freed me up to have relationships in my life that weren't based on lies. Um, Other friends have been lost along the way. There were some people who just drifted away because the more I became positive, the less interest they had in me. I found I didn't have as much in common with some people. So yeah, it hasn't been easy. Whenever you're going from depressed to productive, it can be difficult because you're just not the same as you were. And my transition hasn't just been about transitioning to male, even though it's been a big part of it. You can see the physical changes. You can see the beard now, and you can see that I look a lot more male, and I'm feeling a lot more visible. I can even hear my voice is starting to change a little bit, and I can't wait to see how it keeps changing. It could be 6 months on hormones in October, yeah. But what was I saying? Um, for me, the transition, hey Ernie, is not just about transitioning my gender, and it never has been. It's been about transitioning from the life of what I would call an addict to a healthy life. Even though I wasn't addicted to drugs and alcohol, I centered my life around avoiding the pain of my gender identity and my feelings of invisibility, and so I was addicted to acting out anger and depression and to getting into relationships with people who would help me to continue to feel invisible, and all that unhealthy stuff was not good for me. And so this has been a transition. It continues to be a transition in which I'm moving from that life that's centered around feeling invisible and desperately wanting others' approval to a life that's based on my self esteem, my happiness, and my joy. And it's been an amazing year. In the past year, I've, like I said, my living situation has changed, and I'm not living with that roommate who doesn't want to see me anymore. I'm living by myself and enjoying every minute of it. Looking forward to when I meet my partner, but I know that'll come at the right time. I'm transitioning careers. I'm still doing the freelance writing and enjoying that, but I'm also becoming a public speaker and a motivational coach for the transgender and Asperger's community. I found my purpose. I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm moving forward every day. I'm financially, things are better. Relationship wise, things are better. Emotionally, things are better. I hang out with my friends. I have fun. I go out and eat sometimes just for the fun of it. I'm enjoying life a lot more. So, like I said, if you're transgender and you think you can't come out, you can. Take that first step. There are always people who are going to support you along the way, and there are too many here to thank. Too many people who have supported me for me to ever thank all of them. But if anyone needs any support, I'm here. Other people who have made this journey are here. You're never alone. Never. And things can not only get better, but they can get to the point where you turn around and you look at your life and you go, did I really feel that way? And I look back, and at the time, I knew I was depressed. I didn't realize how serious it was. But I look at my life now, and I look at my life then, and I'm like, in a year, I have become a different person. Not in terms of the gender, because that's always who I was. I just hid it from myself and from everybody for a really long time. But in terms of my life, it's been an amazing year of transition. Everything has changed now, and I have so much hope and so much optimism. I have so much love to give, and I am looking forward so much to serving the transgender community and serving the Asperger's community. Totally self accepting for the most part now. Nothing is ever perfect, nobody is ever perfect, but it's like I had all these gifts waiting just below the surface, and instead of being somebody who is unconsciously acting out on anger that I'm not even aware of, I'm acting with love and joy and pride in who I am now, and that was something that if you told me a year ago, I wouldn't have believed it. I wouldn't have ever thought that my life could be this good, because really asking for help was kind of a desperate act for me. It was kind of like the last straw, like, I can't feel this way anymore. I need to do something because I want to keep living. And I know that some of you out there are feeling that way now, and some of you may be thinking it's always going to be this way. And I can't emphasize enough that it's not. That with a little bit of work and with reaching out and with finding support, your life and your feelings and your emotions and your mental health can totally and completely change. And there's just so much to be grateful for in this world of ours. So I just want to thank you all for listening, and I want to encourage anybody who's suicidal to please keep on, don't give up. I'm going to post some numbers at the end of this video that you can call if you want some help. And you're all welcome always to PM me as well. I can't be at the computer 24 hours a day, but I do answer as soon as possible, and I try to answer emails within 24 to 48 hours. So I'm always here. I hope that you all will be here to celebrate my second anniversary next year. And I love you all. See you later.